Well, Christmas Day passed with no sign of that promised gift from North Korea. The country issued a threat, prompting speculation of another missile test. It comes as Vladimir Putin brags his country is the only one with hypersonic weapons capable of reaching any part of the world. So as we wrap up 2019, what are the real threats facing America? Here to break it all down, former CIA officer Brian Dean Wright. Brian, good morning.
Very good morning to you.
What do you make of North Korea and where we are? So, you know, they talk about a Christmas gift. The president pushed back on Christmas Eve. So far, nothing. We'll see what they do if they test anything in the days ahead. But what's your advice to the president for going into 2020?
Well, we have to remember that we have a neurotic kid who's at the head of a nuclear-armed state. So the threat is real. Even if it didn't happen yesterday, it certainly could happen today and the days to come. So if I were to sit down with the president and give him counsel, it would be continue with the diplomatic efforts. We have to focus on that kind of a solution. And we also have to start exploring covert action operations. With the CIA obviously working in close collaboration with the military, we need to start targeting both the facilities and the people involved in this program, both carrot and stick. And I think that the president understands that. I think he leans much more towards trying to find a diplomatic solution here. But we also have to remember that this isn't just about North Korea and the peninsula. This is also about Kim Jong-un selling all of his weaponry abroad to places like Syria, Iran. So this problem isn't just localized, it's global. And the president knows that, and I think that he's got to maybe lean a little bit heavier on some of the solutions to take care of this problem.
And what about Russia? Where Vladimir Putin not just touting these hypersonic weapons, but somebody who supports bad actors around the world, whether there's North Korea, Syria, Iran. You could go through the list. What's your advice for 2020 there?
Well, for the American people, they need to know that we're behind the eight ball. We're getting outgunned by both Russia and China on this very, very scary weapon. Basically, it's a ballistic missile that has been crafted onto a glider and to get to the United States in a very, very short period of time. So what I think the president is doing very smartly, and the military is doing very thoughtfully, is we're moving forward aggressively on developing our own system, looking at space-based sensors to detect those launches should they happen. But I think ultimately this is a diplomatic question, and I think the president is very smart to try to engage and work with Vladimir Putin to try to find basically a way to keep our relationship adversarial, sure, but at a low boil, right? We are frenemies, I suppose one could say.
But what do you think when you say he should keep the diplomatic channel open both with North Korea and Russia? His critics would say that he hasn't gotten a lot out of that diplomatic channel, either with the summits in North Korea or what he promised in the campaign about Russia, that, hey, they're going to help us with North Korea, they're going to help us with Syria.
Yeah, President Trump was given an absolute garbage sandwich with North Korea. 3 presidents had failed before him. So we should give him a little bit more time to work what he can. You know, in terms of Russia, again, they've been an adversary of ours for over 60, 75 years. That relationship's always going to be complicated. Give President Trump some leash to do what he and his team can. So yeah. I don't buy the critics. I think this is just that's just silly Washington talk.
Sure, and this is a president who promised to take on ISIS and has all but destroyed the caliphate. We can't forget about that from 2019. Real quick, is there a threat that maybe we're not talking about, we're not thinking about now, that you as a former CIA officer are saying, we better pay more attention to that?
Well, you know, look, China, cyber attacks, those are big ones. Bio threats, those are also, you know, big concerns of mine. But I have to tell you, I think that the biggest threat that we face is not from outside of this nation, it's from within. You know, the last 3 years, we've had this hysteria based on Russia and, you know, Russia in every closet, right? We've set asunder our nation with a politicized intelligence community and a politicized FBI. So I think that that's the piece that Americans should be worried most about. And they have the opportunity to express their concern next November. So, look, rest easy knowing that the intelligence community now, under this president and the military, are on top of our concerns, but we need to take care of the domestic threats, and that is, sadly enough, from within.
Well, Brian Dean Wright showing his diplomatic side by calling it a garbage sandwich instead of the alternative a moment or so ago there. I caught that one. We appreciate you coming in with your insights. Always sharp analysis, and we appreciate that.